Hello you guys, I just wanted to show you right fast how I was making this potato soup, or tell you right fast how I was making this potato soup. It's kind of cooler here today where I live at, and it's also been raining off and on all day long today, so I had a ton of potatoes that needed to be fixed. So I went ahead and I just decided to make potato soup. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pot, whatever pot or pan you got, whatever you're working with, use what you have. But you'll fill it up with water about, probably about a couple inches or so on your pan. And you'll salt it really good and then start putting it on the fix or whatever. I keep it on like level or number 7 whenever I'm cooking. And then I had a ton of onions and potatoes that was gifted to me. You don't normally have to use that many. I just use that many because I like onions, and also I just needed to use up the potatoes. But I used a whole big old bag of potatoes and probably about at least 12 extra potatoes, and I probably used about, I would say about 15 onions and stuff in this recipe. But you don't have to do that. The only reason I done that is because, like I said, I had them to use and they needed to be used up or they were going to go to waste and rot. And so anyways, you're going to put, after you put your potatoes, you put your onions in first, and then after you put your onions in, you'll start putting your potatoes in. You'll put up water in this just up to about right here, like halfway or whatever, or a couple inches from the rim of your pan or your pot. And then you'll salt and pepper it to taste. And I used for this recipe about 3 tablespoons full of butter. And then you just do everything to taste, all your seasonings and stuff. And I used chicken broth whenever I first put that in, because that's what I had. I put chicken broth in first. I'm sorry, I told you I put in water first, but I didn't. I put chicken broth in first with your onions, and you start salting it. And then after that, you start working on your potatoes. Cut them up. I cut them up kind of small, kind of tiny as I can get them. And then after you wash and clean them, obviously. And then I put my water in, and then that's when I put my potatoes in the rest of the way. And then I put pepper in it at that point, and then I put butter in it and the water. And then after this cooks a while, I'll see if it's thick enough or not. And if it's not, it should be, with all this amount of potatoes and onions in there, it should be thick enough. But if it's not, I'll add a little bit of flour to it to thicken it up. You just got to go by however it tastes or whatever it looks like, the consistency you like it to look like. But I know that my girls, both of my girls, will eat this up, and myself too, in no time, because both of them actually likes potato soup. And so none of this will go to waste. And I'll show you all in a different video what this looks like plated up. But that's all I use is salt and pepper. I use chicken broth only because I had a half a container left of chicken broth, and that's what I used. But I prefer vegetable broth for potato soup. But I just used chicken broth because that's what I had left over. And then you use water, potatoes, onions, salt, pepper, butter, and then if it's not thick enough for you, you'll put in some flour to thicken it up after it's almost done, and maybe a little bit of milk too at that point. But that's all I use for potato soup. And anyways, I'll show you on a different video what this looks like when it's plated up. Thanks for watching. Talk to y'all later. Thanks. Bye bye.